No. I don't know if you knew I was going to talk about love or not, but I am.
Okay, cool. Oh boy.
Yeah, just being that it's February, and February is a love month, so um, what does love mean to you, like to a person? I mean, we use love pretty generically. Uh, we love pizza, we love cars, we love things, but it kind of lost its zing to it. So, I think it's a word that just lost its meaning over time. And, we kind of think it's like a strong like for something. It's like, oh, I really like it, but just below the surface. So it's a lot deeper than that. Being, Christians and walking by the word, love is way deeper than that. So I'm going to talk about 4 types of love today, and the last 2 types is going to be the 2 types that are in the Bible. So the first kind is called philia or phila, which is a Greek, and it means brotherly love, a phila love. You treat me nice, I treat you nice. It's based on a shared values and trust, and that's how the Philadelphia got their name, is through brotherly love, and that's what it means. So, that's why it's called brotherly love, and the first part of Philadelphia is the phila part. And then we have a Greek storge love, or storge, it's pronounced a couple of different ways. That is called, the meaning of that is family love. Like when you have kids or a pet, it's just there. You can't explain it. It's just a bond that is just there, that you would do anything, for your son or daughter or your kids, or, it's just a deep, it's just there, a natural bond. And then the 2 types of love that are in the Bible, one is called the eros or eros love, which is a Greek term meaning passion, which where we get, if you translate that to English, it's erotic. It's kind of a sexual type driven. You give me some, you do things for favor. It's based on sex, really. And this is where we get the erotic stuff from the films or the pornography and all that stuff. It all stems from that. And this is the love that the devil likes to use against people the most, because, like sex before marriage or prostitution, all this stuff, he wants to blur that into your emotions to make you feel like you're being loved. So it's kind of, it can get into our emotions. It can get into our, as they say, the flesh, and not for the spirit. So, prostitution, premarital sex, that stuff is kind of like you're satisfying yourself. It's self-based. It's self-centeredness, because you're going to satisfy me. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to do that. It's all about me, But, in reality, it should be agape love before we get married, and then eros love afterwards, so we don't get tricked with the emotions and the feelings. But the real kind of eros love is the love that's meant for marriage, which is talked about in Psalms. In Psalms, they talk about 2 lovers in there, and they compare their bodies to nature and the flower petals and stuff like that. So it's in the Bible. I mean, sex is supposed to be good, the good way. It's meant to be between a man and a woman. It's God's design to populate the earth under the covenant of marriage. So that's where the eros or eros love comes. And then the love that talks about in the Bible, mostly when the verse is in there, it's called agape love. Agape love's main meaning is selfless. Actually, agape love. Love means to intensely care for someone. Care means to anticipate their needs. So agape love meaning is selfless, unconditional, sacrificial love that prioritizes the there you go, well-being of others without expecting anything in return. This is the type of God's love that he has for us. And it means to anticipate a need. To study, I think, like, when you're in a marriage or just in any relationship, you kind of think ahead of them, kind of like, I don't know, taking out the garbage or whatever, or do something for that person ahead of time before they ask. I think I got to work on that. Anyway, so, and it's selfless. It's kind of a opposite of self-centeredness. And this is what God did when he sent Jesus to be sacrificed for us. He gave a way out without expectations. He anticipated that we were going to need him. So, did Jesus die after we needed him? No, he died before we needed him. He made a way out. That's how much he loved for us. He gave his only son. John 3:16. God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish. That's not him telling us he expects anything, because he's just saying, if you do believe in me, I'll protect you. Nothing expected. There it is. So it's pretty deep. That's pretty good. So, and there's, you got the love chapter in Corinthians, and you got all kinds of love stuff, but I just picked out a few verses. He just simply says the greatest commandment in Matthew 22:37-40, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Then equally important, to love your neighbor as yourself. True love for God is demonstrated by loving others. So if you love God, that should follow out through your actions. And then another verse, 1 John 13:34, a new commandment I give you, that you love one another, just as I loved you, you are to love one another. By this, people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. So it's kind of like it's an action love. It's not just I love you. Well, love is an action. God sent Jesus. Jesus gave himself. It just ripples all through. And plus, what the disciples did, what Jesus did in the Bible, it's all action. He healed people. He, just talked about love, all the time and everything that he did. If we love God, our actions should naturally follow, and we should love others like he loved us. This is the biggest one. This is probably the one we have problems with the most. I'll speak for myself. The biggest one, Jesus said, he said this on the Sermon on the Mount before he was getting crucified. He was telling the disciples, how to live without him and how to continue with their path of living. He said is to love your enemies. Matthew 5:44. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who prosecute you. That's pretty heavy. That's nothing expected back. I don't know. That's pretty heavy. So if we can even have any concept of his depth of love that we can't really imagine. He gave his life, and now he wants us to love our enemies. He did. There was no other than, he scolded people. He got a little blunt with people. He turned the tables, but that was, what's the word I want to look for? Disciplinary love, I guess, So, if 1 John 4:20, if anyone says, I love God, and hates his brother, he is a liar, for he does not love his brother. For he does not love his brother whom he has seen, cannot love God whom he has not seen. And this commandment we have from him, whoever loves God must also love his brother. So love is more deeper than an emotional, I love Beth, or I love this thing, or whatever. It's more of a spiritual bond that you have with God that overflows into your emotions and your actions. And especially us being Christians, that's something that I need to step up on to where, okay, well, if you say that, you better do that. It's kind of a check thing, especially with the enemies thing. And as I was studying this out, I was looking on YouTube and Google and trying to find all this information. I run across this love story, I guess you would say. Not really a story, but a meaning of this guy. He was telling a meaning of love, and it's kind of the worldly wrong way of love, but it makes a lot of sense. It says, if you can tell a person why they love them, the love is canceled. The minute you give a reason, it's not love. If you ask someone why they love you, that will be the reason for the destruction of the relationship. If there is a reason, that becomes a condition. If they love you because you have a good job, you better keep that job, because the relation will crumble if you don't. That's based on money. If they love you because they say they have a good body, or they have a good body, you better stay that way, because it's a condition. It's based on vanity. If they love you because you're an athlete, you better not get hurt, because that's based on performance. If there is a condition, there's an expectation. If you love someone because of their hair, you're saying, I expect you to keep it that way. You can love their hair, but not love them for their hair, or love them for their hair.
Wait a minute.
I know I'd get a response on that. But, because we grow old and things happen, hair turns gray, falls out, whatever. As soon as that happens, if they're loving you because of that, there goes the relationship. Then the feeling goes away too, because it was a condition. The condition is an expectation. Then the expectation guarantees disappointment, because nothing in life remains the same. Then if the expectation isn't met, it turns into a division, which division the relationship, because you didn't keep your hair right. I don't love you no more. I see that you don't have good hair. We're done. That's, kind of, what I mean? That's how it goes. That's so, and that's how the world looks at things. They based on, he's got the nice car, she's got this, or whatever. And in division, the first part, D, means two, or die means two, and vision means one. So now you got two visions for one, two different views of one vision. So if you're not seeing my vision, we're done. That's kind of what it is. And that's why, men and women leave each other, and they call it midlife crisis. And they're like, oh, I'm going to go jump with the 20-year-old, and the guy's 60 or 50. That's what's happening right there. So then when the condition doesn't stay as expected, it turns into disappointment. And truly that wasn't love to begin with. That was just all pretties and sparklies. And so, and that's not what God intended us to be loving like. He wanted us to be like Him. Unexpected, sacrificial, selfless. And that's the way we should follow. We should do things for each other and not expect anything. That's kind of hard to do sometimes, but I think that's kind of part of stepping up to living in the spirit, not the flesh. We have to do that all the time. If we're fighting that, I think we're in a good spot, because we know the difference between right and wrong. But if we just do it and not have a conscience, that's not a real good spot to be in as far as spiritual. We should anticipate what they need and help each other. Somebody's going to have this, you have helpers, they know that you're going to have this tonight. You kind of step in and help put it together. Just daily house chores as well. And there should be no reason for our love. If we love God, we should be showing our love as well. And if you could just think about that, what he did for us and how we treat people and how, it's sometimes I cringe sometimes like, what? I mean, he did this and here I am doing this to that person, and we can't get in a bad spot about it though, but it's a learning curve. It's a learning thing that we do. And I think if we get more, read more of the word and pray more and get in touch with that spiritually, I think the tables turn and pretty soon that kind of takes over, so to speak. But yeah, so just studying this out, there's several other meanings of love, but them are the four most popular ones that studying that out, I kind of learned a lot too, like the Eros thing, the erotic, or the Philadelphia, the Philly one, the
Yeah, I've
different.
never heard that one.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, so it was kind of neat just studying out and and just sharing it with you guys. And so yeah, so when they're talking about Bible verses, it's the agape love, and in Psalms it's the Eros love. So I guess that's all I have today for you, Beth, for you guys.
I think you did wonderful.
Okay.
Anybody got
Interesting.
questions?
Have any
Okay.
questions?
Unconditional love.
Unconditional, selfless, not expected.
People nowadays just don't understand unconditional love.
Right.
They will say, I'm marrying you and I unconditionally love